Wow, this has been a good Saturday, and one of the things that made it really good was that my sister Shamima and I had our Young Women's Global Leadership Gathering on Zoom. This is our leadership program for, if you don't know, we founded a nonprofit called Leave No Girl Behind International, and it's about empowerment through leadership. This particular program is one that we launched at the end of last year. It is networking and leadership together so that young women 12 to 18, and also in the first phase of adulthood 18 to 24, can get together on Zoom, and we facilitate this. We get guest speakers, so the girls are, or young women I should say, they're not girls, the young women can basically speak with one another, relate to one another, and this is global. Today we had young women from 4 different countries, which was absolutely wonderful. And they also receive leadership training, and sometimes this leads to mentoring. So it was just a wonderful gathering today. And one of the things that happened was everyone feeling safe and comfortable and just being able to communicate spontaneously. One of the discussion points was how we're able to communicate in a way, especially when answering questions, how we're able to communicate in a way that answers the question, not speaking too much or too little. And this was a question that came. And I think a lot of us adults also struggle with this. And this is the title of this live, Head to Heart. My solution to this is move from head to heart in your communication. So when I am facilitating a discussion, it's sometimes easy to get trapped in one's thoughts, in that headspace of, I must remember to do this. How do I guide the discussion? How do I make sure everyone stays on point and within the time parameters? And when one comes from the heart, one doesn't have to remember what to do, or one doesn't have to control it in that way. It sort of comes into place. The right words come to one. One is able to feel and express. In other words, another way of discussing head to heart is saying, well, let's move from thinking to feeling, or from doing into being. Moving into that space where we can be in alignment enough to be able to just be in stillness and allow the answer to come to us. And the magic of that is just because one gives oneself the space to be able to just allow the solution. When one's head is so busy, there's so many thoughts, so many questions, so many techniques running through one's head, that the clear solution, the clarity doesn't come as fast. The solution doesn't come into focus. And when you give it that stillness and that room to breathe, the space, the solution comes because it is already there. It's just tapping into it. So 2 techniques, which are just 2 minutes of getting into alignment. So whether you're on an interview, on someone's podcast, speaking from a stage, whether you're in a room networking, in a meeting, facilitating, wherever you may be, where you're interacting and communicating, that it can happen in a way that is so heart-centered, and you can still be with your greater sense of leadership capacity. And that is going into the building block of gratitude and going into meditation to just get to that stillness and alignment. Now, a lot of people feel, well, if I'm in the middle of a networking situation, how am I going to go into meditation? So let's just start there. The meaning of meditation is creating that stillness, creating that alignment. How you get there is really not the point. If you are in a moment where you can't go out to meditate for 2 minutes, or you don't have the opportunity or the physical space, just start breathing. No one's really going to know that except you. Just inhale and exhale. You can do it with a glass of water in your hands and take a sip every now and then, because you're calming the body down. You're dropping from the head into the heart and just allowing the wisdom of the body and the space of the mind and connection with spirit. So the breathing is still a form of meditation. Some people would remember a song that they've heard where in your thoughts you're just being with the song, or maybe you're being with this prayer, with a prayer, if that's what you believe in, or being with an energy. You may know a prayer, or you may feel a sense of going into an energy space where you're just being with that, and that brings alignment. You can also go into a poem or a verse or whatever it is, just dropping into that. And because you're giving yourself some space, that expression that you want to put forward, the expression that is pure you, without any control, without any manipulation, without any busyness of the head, that is going to come, because you'll just be you in this moment without any distractions, and you won't be looking through what you think is someone else's eyes at how you sound, because that's just a thought in your head of what you think you look like to someone else. And then the gratitude building block, even in the moment, you can at least say to yourself, what do I feel grateful for? What feels good? And just that question, what feels good? And it could be this water, it's really cold. And you go into the next thing, the sun, this grass, it's so green, the smell of the fresh air, whatever it is, just go into one of those things that also creates a space to come from the heart instead of the head. So when you are in that space, you don't have to remember all these techniques, or what was that technique that I had to remember to get me into the space? How do I stop someone from talking too much? How do I stop myself from talking too much? Or what do I say when I don't know the answer to something? When you get into alignment, it just comes, and you find yourself saying, just give me a minute, I need to think about that. Or, can you say that in a different way, please? Or, I need to just be with that for a while. I'll get back to you. Whatever it is, and you just come from that aligned self where it's just you meeting someone else in their light, your light to their light. That's today's Truth Walking. Love and light to you. Have a happy day.